What's up, you guys? I'm Anya.
And I'm Kylie, and this is 2 Degrees Hotter.
The post-grad podcast where we get real about life after college every Tuesday. First of all, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm great. You reminded me of so many things that I do, and I got really excited to talk about it because it's funny how, I don't know, graduating college and sort of following your own creative projects, especially right now. There's just so many, like, I'm never fully confident in what I'm doing just because there's so many things that I am so passionate about, and I feel obligated to pick one thing at this point in my life. And so I don't know. I'm really excited to talk to you both today because I can tell that you're interested, and I have talked the ear off of everybody else in my life. So I'm really excited to share everything with you today.
Yeah, awesome. And I know that our listeners are going to be super interested too. So can you just kind of introduce yourself, give a little bit of insight into what you're up to now, and then we'll dive a little more into your background.
Yeah. I will give you the short version because I could talk forever, and I truly mean that. Like, I'm really not just saying that. But essentially, yeah. So I just graduated from Boston University. I was a public relations major. That took a long time to get to. I studied business a little bit of political science stuff. I'm the most indecisive person you'll probably ever meet, which is also why I tried to have a music career. And depending on how you feel about that music, I could say I'm still trying to, but that's awkward. But yeah, I'm working through that. But then also, Friendly is my sort of huge sort of project right now because I think the culmination of the past few years of my life have been this epiphany of I just love making other people feel unapologetic about what they do, like how specific people in my life made me feel. And so that's really just the initiative and the mission behind Friendly. It's a very much evolving organization. And if you asked me this question a year ago, I would have described it completely differently. But right now, it's essentially just a talent management group. And so we are just reaching out to different people who are facing this really common barrier for young people, and specifically with my experience, the music industry, of it's so hard to break through without some sort of representation or some sort of support, because the skill set is developed over time. But when nobody's giving you a chance to develop that skill set, it's really, really difficult, and it can almost be dissuading to your own pursuit of your passion. And so Friendly is really just a creative support group, I guess, but it's really cool because I have people who are passionate about talent management. I have people who are passionate about entertainment law that just want to get behind this. And it's the perfect starting point for so many young people. And where we may lack in experience, we just totally make up for in passion and just the ability to be flexible and take on seriously whatever, because we just want something to work on. And it's this really, like, almost, not to sound too cliche, but like magical feeling at this point. And I feel like I'm able to give a lot, or at least as much as I can with the current stage of where I am, to other young artists. And it's just, it re-energizes you at the same point. So long story short, I'm an incredibly indecisive person. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I've recently thought I was going to run for Congress one day. I'm kind of feeling that vibe lately. But not soon. Don't worry. Nobody, you're not, no, don't worry. I'm not there yet. I know that I'm not there yet. But there's just so many things that I'm passionate about, and really the focus of my life right now is just recognizing that I don't have a focus.
Yeah, well, I love that. And I wish that all of you guys could be seeing Jacob on video right now like we are, because I feel like when you were talking about Friendly, like the way that your eyes lit up and like your whole expression changed, like you can tell you're so passionate about it. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about that further on in the episode. And I did some creeping. I have deduced that you're from California. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, you could say I'm also, my family's just like the most nomadic family there may be. I counted actually recently because going back to school, you have to think of like the fun fact. I was like petrified of that moment, even though I'm a very extroverted person. For some reason, that just like scares the bejesus out of me. But my fun fact was, like, I've currently right now, I live at like the 22nd address I think I've ever lived at in my life. And I'm literally 22.
Oh my
So
gosh.
moved around like quite a bit. But I was born in Texas. I mostly grew up in Seattle. I moved to California again. I came out to Boston because I was like, I need to get away. I lived in New York for a while, and then I came back to Boston. I was abroad in Australia. Long story short, you can say I'm from California. You could say I'm from Washington, wherever, whatever your vibe with.
Wow. That is insane. 22 addresses in 22 years. I cannot fathom. But what made you choose Boston? So I don't know if we've mentioned this, but Jacob went to BU, Boston University, and I am a Northeastern grad. So we have a little bit of beef
Woo!
between us, I suppose.
We can set
Um,
it aside for now. I don't
I'm
know.
like over in Worcester, like, no.
but yeah, tell us why you picked Boston for school and maybe like why BU specifically.
Yeah. Well, you could not get much further from home than Boston, which is why I came here. Not for not for a bad reason, but really I just had moved around so much, and as a result of my parents or their job or some other reason, and I was like, I want to make a decision on my own, and the only way that's going to be fulfilling enough is if it's as bold as being like, there's no family around here. I know absolutely nobody around here. The My original intention was to go to New York, and I toured a bunch of schools there, and I tried really hard to like it. But I think Boston just reminded me so much of the places that I grew up that I was like, oh, this is similar enough to make it feel like home right off the bat, but also just enough of a clean landscape to build my own sort of path. And so that was the kind of the dream. And I'm really glad I spent my years here. I just feel like this is, I mean, we're all probably a little biased, but I think this is one of the best areas to just spend your college years.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't say it better. And are you in Boston right now?
Yeah, I just signed my first adult lease. Yep, in
Love that.
Boston.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really fun to pay rent for the first time. And then when it happened like again, it didn't feel as good. And then when it happened again, it just was not enjoyable anymore. So we're learning a lot. You're catching me at a very interesting point in my life.
Well, Boston has all of those really fun upfront fees, which obviously every city does, but in Boston, it's like pretty insane. It's like 3 months security deposit,
Yep.
broker's fee. Like it's ridiculous.
Yep. Yep. No matter how hard you try to just be prepared, and I don't know. I'm happy though. I like being in my own sort of space. And I bought this plant at IKEA, so I'm really stoked about it. I went to IKEA the other day to buy a lamp. I came back with a kitchen table, a plant, I did buy the lamp actually, which is rare for me to actually buy what I went to go there for. And I bought a bar cart and I bought throw pillows. So I don't know. I've also been watching a lot of HGTV lately, so maybe home reno is a
In
future for
your,
me.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes to
You
IKEA
sound-
once, but
You sound like me at Target. I'm like, I came here for soap and I have a new
Yep.
wardrobe. How did this happen?
Yep, you're like, I need deodorant, and then you're like, oh, now I have like a blow up pool. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I need the whole Magnolia Home collection, actually.
Chip and Joanna Gaines, they know how to
Yep.
do it. There's always a
They
new book
do.
out. Yeah. Mhm.
Always. So diving a bit more into your background in college, you just graduated. You are a December graduate, and we're wondering kind of how you're feeling about it. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you glad to be done?
Yeah, I think I'm processing that still, because about a year ago when I told my friends like, hey, I'm gonna graduate early, and they're like, why? And I was like, I was at that point. I like sincerely loved every single second. I was at BU, and truthfully, I think I milked all the resources out of BU possible while I was paying tuition there. Well, I guess I'm still paying tuition there, but while I was like on campus, I think I really got just so much out of it, more than I ever anticipated. And I think I was just really eager to kind of start my life, because it started getting to that point where like, okay, I'm taking classes just to take classes, and it's working around kind of what I'm really passionate about, with like the work that I was doing. I do a couple of freelance and contract jobs with nonprofits, which is a huge passion of mine. And so I started doing that, and I was like, that's just kind of almost getting in the way. And I was like, I'm going to graduate early. And when people laughed at me then, now people are like, I wish I graduated early, because just the online environment's not fulfilling for a lot of people. And so it's also just very difficult to get a job right now, which is part of the reason why I did also graduate early, because people had said, oh, the job market's easier in January because you're not competing against all the other grads. And I thought it would be so much more clean cut. Like maybe a year ago, I thought I would be in New York by now. I thought I'd be back at the agency that I interned at, and I'm at a complete 180. So I don't know. I think I'm still processing it, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to make up my mind quick because for some reason I feel like I don't have a lot of time left. I'm literally 22. I'm going to be working for a very long, very, very, very long time.
Mhm.
But I think I'm just eager to get where I'm meant to be. But I remind myself every day, you gotta enjoy the hardships along the way. And I'm also just a dreamer, and I like to make things happen that nobody else thinks I can make happen. And of course that just didn't really happen this time around. So I'm just kind of working through that, but I'm really, really happy with where I am. I am incredibly fortunate with where I am, and I have zero complaints.